We're talking brandy tonight with Jennifer Querbes. She is the founder of Brandy Sainte Louise, and I've known Jennifer for a long time, and we're going to have some fun talking brandy. Congratulations. This is fairly new, right? How long have you been doing this?
I launched it a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah, new since I've last seen you, and I'm trying it, and I love it. Congratulations on this. Felicitations.
Thank you, BBT.
Yeah, it's good to see you. We're tasting some good brand, pale and old. We've made several cocktails. We made a Sazerac with it, and we have a what's the other one I have here?
Sidecar.
The sidecar. I have a sidecar. And if you're watching us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, ask questions down below. Like this video, share this video. I'm sure a lot of great people that are in the spirits community and that know your brand are already watching, and hopefully we'll introduce some more people to it. But just let's start off. What is Brandy Sainte Louise?
Well, it's a 19th century style fruit-forward French brandy. Yeah. I created it with help of bartenders across the U.S., but it's basically the style that they were using in the old cocktail books, you know, the late 19th, early 20th century flavor profile. So it's kind of plug and play to all those old cocktail books. I mean, I love it on its own, but it's I did develop it for use to recreate those cocktails because, as you know, like 2/3 of them were originally brandy based, like your Sazerac or your even French 75s, all those. So just things that you didn't even know were originally brandy based. So I created it at the request of bartenders for bartenders.
Nice. And again, the brand actually dates back to what year again?
My actual, when I launched it?
No, the original label of this is something.
Oh, this label? So yeah, this is an original 19th century French brandy label that I customized. Yeah.
Very nice.
And so the packaging matches the
actual spirit, the spirit of the spirit. This is so good. Okay, so I'm gonna just we'll try the cocktails. I'm gonna take a sip of this, but I do enjoy brandy a lot. I got to go to travel to Cognac several years ago and got to see some of the Cognac region. So okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Salud. Do you have an official Brandy Sainte Louise toast?
I'm really proud of it.
That has some real depth. Okay, so what are we looking at as far as how old this stuff is?
So it's a blend of 10 different eau de vie, all aged between 3 and 10 years.
Wow.
And it's Uni Blanc is the primary varietal, and about 10% comes from Grand Champagne in Cognac, and the rest of it, the vast majority, comes from right outside the AOC, which in southwestern France, but also Uni Blanc. The cellar master that I'm working with in Cognac brings it all in as neutral, unaged clear spirit, and ages and blends it there in the cellars in Cognac.
Wow. So when and I know a little bit about the Uni Blanc and a lot of the grape varietals. As you talk about those, what kind of flavor were you going for by picking those particular grapes?
Well, that's pretty much, as you know, having been to Cognac, Uni Blanc is highly regarded as one of the best, if not the best, varietal for Cognac.
Right.
And mine is basically this. The only difference with mine and Cognac is that some of my varietals come again from right outside the region of Cognac, so I have to. Then it's French brandy, and the reason why I do that is for flavor profile and also for cost effectiveness, which was very important to me. But Uni Blanc, it doesn't make a great wine, but it's just perfect for Cognac and for brandy. Yeah, and it's all aged in New Limousin oak there in Cognac, and I'm just really proud. We were just going for exactly what we could find that was as close as possible to what they were drinking in the late 19th, early 20th centuries.
So that's what this would have tasted like, what they were putting in a lot of these old school cocktails. Exactly. The flavor, it would have been So how did you research this? I guess first of all, what got you excited about doing a brandy, and then how did you research next on how to create this kind of old school brand?
Well, as you know, I've been in the industry for a long
Yes,
time, and I just want to say, like, it will be 10 years next when I the first time ever interviewed me. It's pretty crazy.
I know
Um,
I can't believe it's been 10 years since I met you.
10 years exactly in like less than a month. So, yeah. So as you know, I've worked for a bunch of brands, and most recently I was the global brand ambassador for Tempest Fugit Spirits. And before that, I was primarily drinking whiskey neat, and I was really into agave spirits and all kinds of spirits, but I didn't know a whole lot about cocktails. So working for Fugit, I definitely a lot about them, and especially 19th century style cocktails. And I just saw a huge hole in the market. I had a bunch of bartenders ask me, they're like, if you could do it. It's a little bit overproof. It's 43%. We experimented with 40 to 46%. 43 was really the sweet spot where I love it on its own, but it stands up in cocktails without overpowering them, because cognac typically gets overpowered in cocktails, because I love cognac. I'm a huge fan of cognac, but it's not really meant to be in cocktails. It's meant to be enjoyed on its own. It's lovely and beautiful and delicate. And mine is, this one just stands up to the other ingredients, also elevating the other ingredients in the cocktail. And now I forgot your question.
Right, it shines through, the flavor of yours shines through in the cocktails, but it also is just so amazing.
Well, I did the research. So I did a bunch of research. So working for Tempest Fugit, learned a lot about that, and I had a book. I had a list of about 30 historical, the Jerry Thomas, all those cocktail books, and I put every single one of them into a spreadsheet of every single ingredient into there, and kind of looking for holes in the market, because I wanted to start my own brand, to not have enough money, or I didn't want to get investors. It's very expensive to start a distillery. I always wanted to do that, and that was my initial goal. But then I realized it takes $10 million in 10 years to even begin to compete, and so I looked into importing. Because when I went through that spreadsheet, I found that they're like the classic cocktails were about 2/3 of them were originally brandy based. So there was, I was like, why have I never heard of it?
Before it even became whiskey or anything else?
Yeah, and so then I realized that I did a lot of research, and found that because of phylloxera, the disease of the vines there in cognac, and also because of prohibition, a couple world wars.
Right.
That's why the brandy replaced by whiskey or gin or others. So so we're just trying to recreate. And then also I found out, I didn't even know when I started this how versatile this spirit is. It just really, it's amazing to see what people, I'm in, I think, 23 states right now. And it's amazing to see what people are doing with it coast to coast. It's just incredible. Things I would never think of. I think brandy was the original spirit. It's all it is distilled wine, twice. Mine is in Charente copper pot stills.
Right.
People are a little bit intimidated of the category, cognac, as you know, and brandy in general. They don't really know exactly what it is, but trying to bring it back. And it really was the spirit that everybody was using, and was the most popular spirit for hundreds of years.
Because they had the wine, they made the cognac and the brandy. And actually, someone just asked, thanks, Louise, for asking, what is the biggest misconception that people have about brandy? What do you think the biggest misconception is?
Ooh, that's a good question. That it's going to be, okay, well, this is perfect. A lot of people think it's going to be a very strong, like some of my friends are a little bit intimidated also of bourbon, sort of younger friends, or
Right.
people that, and females really, they think it's very heavy, overpowering. So I think because it's an aged spirit, they think that it's going to be very heavy and very bold and
just too strong, right?
yeah, and
So then
just
they can't get their heads around it.
yes, and then they also think, I think a lot of young people I've been notified, they think that that aged spirits actually are worse for you or have more calories or are not gluten free, and
Right.
I think that just people, it's just wine, and it's drier, it's delicate. This is, and also people think that, of course, brandy and cognac needs to be consumed. People think that it's a winter spirit. I think that is really the biggest misconception, is that it's something to be consumed in the winter by the fire with a cigar, you know.
Right. Which, well, that works too.
Of course, absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, you know, you look at like cocktail menus, you know, in the summer, a lot of people are like, well, brandy's just for the winter. And you look at summer cocktail menus, you see bourbon on there in all of, you know, on all of them. And you just don't see cognac or brandy as much, but it really is a much lighter, more delicate flavor. So, and especially this one is, something that's different about this is that mine is traditional French brandy, and it's an old world production. I just kept it traditional, exactly how they were making it, production methods, everything. And I think that some American brandies are amazing. There's just a huge difference between New World and old world spirits, and New World, which America's, there's some amazing brandies being made here. But typically America's more innovative. We know we're new and we like to put our own touch on everything and be innovative and new. And, you know, there's different cask finishes and all of that, but that kind of brings definitely a different flavor profile than this one does. And
this is so good. This really has so much depth. I mean, this 3 to 10 year old mark you have, I mean, it really, I've had some much older brandies and cognacs, and this really has that older flavor. It's very tasty. So good. Yeah, and it works really well. I'm having Sazerac. Annabelle made me a Sazerac, so this is this was the original. What went into a Sazerac, right? Was brandy. It wasn't whiskey.
That was yeah, exactly. And also that was, so my family's from Louisiana, and my mother loved her Sazeracs. I think I'm fourth or fifth generation that has spun around the Carousel Bar in New Orleans, which you and I.
Yes, I've been there. I've been there when you're there, actually. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm the fifth generation doing that, and she loved all of that. So I did that, and I named it in tribute to her. And also I found out that I have a very distant ancestor that is being canonized to be a saint in Lyon, France. And he's going to be Louis, L-O-U-I-S, Querbes, I guess they say in French, but Querbes. And so he's about to be a saint. So I just kind of put the family heritage together and just did it in a tribute to my grandmother and women that really weren't able to follow. Women couldn't do what I was doing. Now, so
that's where the name comes from. Mm-hmm. That's so cool. It's such delicious stuff.
I have my little fleur-de-lis. You can kind of see it.
You have actually that's on the back here.
Mm-hmm. And that's a tribute to New Orleans, as well as very good. Yeah, you can see it better on yours.
Love the label. The label is so cool. It does feel so old. I mean, this is it feels like we just pulled something off the shelf that's been there for many, many years. It's so tasty. And if you've had it, tell us below wherever you're watching. We have several people commenting that I think have tried it. Laura's saying that she's always said vodka drinkers should be drinking brandy. It's so much smoother. If it's a good one, it has a less than alcohol taste. This is very smooth. This is very smooth, and just a whole lot of finish too. I mean, there's really a depth of character. What do you attribute that to? Is that depth of character, that finish, that really deepness that on a blend like this?
Well, it's the blend, obviously the quality and the production. And they're barrel aging, and this is the way it was supposed to be. And then it's the blend that we put together with the cellar master that I'm working with in Cognac, and just traditional methods. And it's a longer finish than a lot of I found other brandies and cognacs, which it's not necessarily better or worse, but just different to me. Now that I've tried so many now, and I'm like, I have a sip and then it goes away. But this one, it stays with you a little bit.
Very nice. Hey, there's Litch is asking a question. Our buddy Litch.
Yeah. Hey.
Thanks for watching, Litch. If he can find it in Colorado.
Yes, definitely. I'm actually Colorado is one of my best markets.
Nice.
As you know, Litch, we used to work together. I still have a lot of friends there, and I spend a lot of time there. It's I wish I have all of my retail places on my website.
I'll stick
BrandySainteLouise.com or RicouSpirits.com. But I have all the retail, but then it's a bunch of on-premise locations.
Right.
Like pretty much the best cocktail
So
bar.
cool. I'll stick that link up in a moment to make sure we have that website, because if you're a bourbon fan and you've never gotten into brandy, or maybe you've never tried many brandies, this is something that I think bourbon drinkers, dark spirit drinkers, anyone who really enjoys great spirits will enjoy. If people have had cognacs before, I mean, how does this? I think you kind of answered it earlier, but I think people may still be asking, well, is this like a cognac, or what makes a brandy different than a cognac? I mean, why is this not a cognac? What about it is cognac-like?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, brandy in general can be made from any agricultural product.
Any agricultural.
Asparagus brandy, if you want to.
Have you tried some of that?
So, for those that don't know, is unaged brandy. So you age it then. This one is from grapes, so gluten-free. People get all caught up in that, which most spirits are gluten-free anyway. But the only difference between this one and cognac is that some of my varietals come from right outside the AOC or the region of Cognac, which is the most highly regulated AOC or region or spirit that there is, as far as I know, for good reason, for the terroir, for the history. They guard it very, very. It's like champagne. One of the people like to use that as a. As an example, but so since some of my grapes are OV come from right out of the region, it can't be cognac, and I do that, like I said, because you can get not every. How do you say this? Cognac is fabulous, but not every single thing in cognac is the best quality that you can get, and sometimes you can get like Armagnac, for example. I know you love Armagnac as well.
Right. Yeah.
So this has some grapes from the Armagnac region.
Wow! So this actually has kind of what would be considered an Armagnac in it.
Absolutely, and except for that, mine are not column distilled. It's still a copper pot, Charlotte. Yeah, and every single producer that I'm working with their family has been farming the land for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Right. My cellar master is like he's like sixth generation, I believe. I asked the distiller how long his family has been doing this, and he was like, you American. He was like, you always have to quantify everything with time. What is time? My family has been doing this since as long. He's like, I don't even know. Like as long as time.
That's cool. So basically, it has these are grapes that are very close to where the cognac is grown. Some of these are. So it's really it's the same varietals that you'd find there, plus some grapes from Armagnac, all blended into one for a very specific flavor. That to me, I think I do get some of that Armagnac kind of note on it. I mean, it's really deep. It's deep and it's beautiful. And again, if you're watching and you're like, where can we find this? I'm going to put your website up. It's Ricou. Is that how we say it the right way? I want to say it the right way. RicouSpirits.com. That's where you'll find all the places you can buy this and try it. And
a lot of recipes, cocktail recipes.
All the recipes too. We got our cocktail recipes. The Sazerac's amazing. And of course, as we're throwing up website links, we do this every night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on BourbonBlog.com live. Make sure you bookmark that option so you can come back basically every night except Friday. We're doing it almost every night except Friday now. So I think you may, well, are you the first? I'm trying to remember if you're the first Brandy. I think you may be the first Brandy we've had in the last couple.
I know. I told you.
I believe you are.
Yeah, Brandy blog. BB. You could still be BBT.
I could still be BBT.
Brandy blog. Tom.
Well, tell everybody that you were the first one at Breckenridge to coin that name for me, weren't you?
Yeah, well, me and Maya.
Was you and Maya that coined that name? BourbonBlog.
BBT, because we were like
BourbonBlog Tom. That's a great nickname I was given many years ago by you all. BourbonBlog Tom is the BBT.
Years ago.
It's great. I don't have many nicknames that I know of, so that's one that I know of.
Tell you that? BBT.
I don't think I do, so that's I'm proud of that one. This is wonderful. This Sazerac it's I love Sazerac with rye, but there's something with the sugars and just the depth of this. Why do you like a Sazerac with brandy? Tell me how it compares with other.
To me, it's just more the mouthfeel is much more palatable. I love rye too. I love all of it. Yeah. When I was going to start my own distillery, I wanted to do rye. I'm a huge fan. This one is just more balanced to me. It's not as spicy, so you use a little bit less peychaus in it. It's just and then it just expresses on its own. And that was my number one. It's because my family's from Louisiana. The number one thing for me is that I had to make a killer Sazerac. I mean, that was number one priority. So.
And this recipe that you sent me is also up on your website, right?
Yes.
You did, and you just do a splash of soda water too on this, right?
Yeah. That is.
I like it.
How we do it. I actually didn't on this one. That I feel like that's optional, but that's how we kind of, because of I myself don't like a lot of sugar, but most people do. I like more bitter, but that's not typical for most people. So that kind of helps the sugar cube dissolve, right, Laura?
It's so good. Yeah, Laura's talking. She actually says she feels like she can taste a little of the Armagnac funk in there as well. I think I do. Like I said, I do get some of that. Armagnac was actually the first alcohol I ever drank when I wasn't drinking age, but that was the first thing I ever drank.
Who can say that?
I can. It's great. This is BourbonBlog. I can say anything I want. I love it.
Right? No, I know.
We don't censor on here, do we?
Like that's incredible. I don't even.
I had Armagnac. Yeah, no. So I had it when I was a teenager, actually in France. So I love Armagnac. Ever since someone first ordered it from me, I love Armagnac, and I've always loved cognacs and whiskeys too. But Armagnac was the first hard spirit I ever had. So this is so good. Okay, who else is saying great things here? Well, Aaron bought some old cognac at an estate sale. Aaron watches almost every night. He bought some old cognac at an estate sale today. He's excited to try this now, and I asked him what kind. He said he bought an older Remé Martin. So
yeah,
I wonder how old. Tell us if you're still watching how old it is.
I'd love to hear about it.
But there's so much. I mean, it's such a joy to go to, and I think I did this 5-6 years ago, to go to the Cognac region, because it almost feels like, for Kentucky, you can get to all the distilleries in the Bourbon region pretty easily. Those you can too. I mean, it's like really easy to take all these in. They're really close to each other, aren't they?
They are, and exactly. People don't know how far. I mean, Armagnac is 2 hours away from Cognac, like the actual city. If you go to the border. And also, it's something that's interesting that's in common for bourbon in Kentucky and also in cognac is the terroir in the soil. There's a lot of limestone. The soil looks very. I think there's some pictures on my website, and I think, but you can definitely see the limestone in there. So that minerality definitely permeates the vines, and so I think that's why.
That's so cool.
Are you bourbon and cognac actually do have in common?
There's some great things. I mean, they're both kind of smaller. Well, they're not really small areas, but they're kind of smaller regions. They both have been always known for that.
Yeah, same size, well,
So many similarities, such great, quaint places. So are you seeing bartenders really getting, because I mean, obviously bourbon and rye, those have been hot and still are. Are you seeing there is an upward trend in bartenders wanting new brandies to play with? Are you seeing some of that the last few years?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm betting. I just told you I sold my house and everything
Yeah.
I had to do this.
You're just seeing it grow and grow then.
My entire life on this because this new cocktail renaissance, the craft cocktails, they want to create these old cocktails from the past, but also there's so many that you can create that are new classics or new varietals. I mean, I've been going through a sangria phase right now. It's so hot.
Sangrias, wow.
It's great, yeah. And so you just it's crazy versatile. And some of my accounts in Miami are, of course, making pina coladas with it. And,
wow,
it's really crazy.
So what is a? I don't know if we've asked this. What does a bottle of this go for then? What's the price?
Typically on the shelf, it should be less than 30.
Wow, less than 30.
So that's the thing. And I wait till people try it first.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll ask them, well, what would you pay for it? And the reason why I was able to do that is because I imported myself and I don't take the margin for that. And I had several importers that wanted to do it for me, but then they add 35 to 40% margin on top, like on the landed cost, which is people don't understand. It's complicated. On top of freight, on top of excise taxes, they put margin on top of that. So I'm like, why should
keep on pushing up?
So there was no way I could possibly get it to that price point if I had an importer. So I imported myself.
You became your own importer. Otherwise, you would have been.
Oh, it would have been at least over 40. And initially my goal was to be, far less than that for on-premise or cocktail.
Right.
So
this is so good for 30 or a little under. This is
I make no money on it. I'm telling you, like you just got to kill it in volume. Like my margin is like people laugh at me. I mean, that's how I believe it.
For $30, even a little more. I mean, if you see it for 35, whatever it might be, this has some real depth, some real character. It's amazing, and it also helps keep the cocktail cost down too, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and again, I'm competing against, comps around are hundreds of year old. Some of them are older. Most of them are older than our country of the United States of America, and they're like billion-dollar conglomerates. And then there's little old me. So all the everybody told me to be 10 times the quality at half the price. So I just squeezed it as much as I can. And yes, my warehouse is in New Orleans, so we ship out of there. And not many people do that, but
cool.
Yeah, just really my margin is just tiny. But I just wanted I wanted it to be accessible and functional. And yeah, do you have any other?
Annabelle just said, and she did. Annabelle said Tom had me guess the cost, and she did. She guessed much higher. So after she tried, yeah. So I'm amazed too that it's done. What's that like? As you compete against the bigger companies, like you said, that have been around for like hundreds of years, and you have this offering that is really, really tasty and really, I mean, it can compete with many of them. Maybe in blind tastings, people may pick yours versus theirs. I mean, what's that like for you?
In fact, so right before I launched it, I'm sure you're familiar with Paul Packelt.
Yep.
So he did the Brandy Authority. He did the Rum Authority and the Whiskey Authority, and then he did the Brandy Authority right when I was launching it, and he did a blind tasting of, I think it was about 15 or 20 spirits. Some of them grappa. There was grappa. There was all kinds of brandies. But a lot of people, we had to pick at the end. A lot of the bar people had to pick at the end, and they thought that mine was I'm not going to say the brand, but they thought it was this with a $200 bottle. They
Really?
yes, they thought that was this one. And so it's amazing. It would be great if I could charge more, but I just, again, that price point is it's my whole.
Well done for that. Especially, I mean, obviously there's spirits at so many different price points and so many good spirits at those price points, but especially right now during this time during the pandemic. I mean, this is something people are looking for, something that is both delicious, and I think many people are looking for something that also has good cost effective. It's a value. So
my price quality ratio.
Yeah. Have you heard especially good feedback given all this with what you're offering?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been good. Like everyone, I mean, of course people don't say it to your face, but it's been doing very well. I mean, my first account ever was Cure in New Orleans, which my very good friends there, and I miss them a lot. And very sad. This will be our first year in this tales in a long time. But that was the first account ever. And Neil Bodenheimer was one of the bartenders that helped me.
Neil was there, yeah, at Cure.
Yeah,
great place.
So I told him, I said, I'm not gonna put anything in the well. Like, I'm not gonna release anything that you're not gonna have in the well, because he was one of the ones that was asking for it, especially with the New Orleans drinks. But yes, again, it's been pretty tough lately. Typically, consumers are not gonna go in their liquor store and looking for French brandy, but I'm trying to change that. It's just this whole thing has been pretty rough. It was getting a lot of momentum before this, and education was getting out there. But yeah, I appreciate you doing this, because education on this category in general is really important, and there's not a lot of it at all.
Well, it's a lot of fun seeing great people like you every night when you do this. Part of our goal was to, when we started this right after the COVID shutdown, I wanted to make sure we featured almost every night. Well, for about 2.5 months, we featured somebody every night. Which was fun, but we still are almost every night, but we want to feature great brands, great people, and just new things to try. And really, how many brandy brands have their own pair of socks as well? Because I have these socks, and I was actually going to model these. I was going to put the socks on. Now, look,
model them, do it now.
I would, but I'm wearing shorts, and I think that would look silly. I always wear the bow tie and the jacket, but I'm wearing shorts. It's hot.
No, but that's what all the girls are doing these days. They're wearing
I'm sure. I don't know. Compete with that. But these are great. I appreciate these Brandy Sainte Louise socks.
We actually just had these things made too. But they have a little straw hole.
Oh, let's see it.
I mean, it's not very attractive.
We've actually brainstormed on several conversations. We've thought of Annabelle, and I said, we need a straw hole. Show us how it works. Can you show us how it works?
I mean, I haven't actually used it yet. I don't have a straw, but like, you put it over.
It has did somebody make that, or did you just kind of?
Yeah, I had it made.
You had it made.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to put this on right now.
Oh, just hold it up.
For me. Where's Louise?
You can just hold it up if you want to.
And then you can lift up this little thing, and there's a little Velcro. This one doesn't have it, that you can put.
Wow! And so you had those made for with your name on them?
Yeah, just like a little bit on the side. Oh,
it's amazing.
A little on the side. And
are you selling those anywhere? Where can we find them?
Come in. This is Louise, my little cousin.
Definitely model. Okay,
model. Beautiful.
Now show us how the straw hole works. Just kind of.
Should I grab a straw? I'll be back. Oh, we got it.
He's gonna grab a straw. Can we find these? I think these people are these.
Yes, we like to use rubber.
Yes. Okay.
Maybe I didn't try this before.
Let's see.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I saw plates.
We need the straw holes. We need that, because I can see that being, because we think about going into bars or we can't, but now we can. Now we can go and have a drink.
And with this, and then actually, this idea came from one of my friends who's a doctor on the front line. Like, she's in the Navajo region, and she was like, "I need a straw, like, to drink just water during my shift." And then I said that, and then plus bartenders are bar goers, and we have little filters that you can replace in there, and
You have filters inside the mask.
Yes.
And you created this mask.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't physically make it, but
this is amazing. Can people order these?
Have fans. No, I will give them. If you email me, I will send it to you. Like, I'm not selling them.
I've thought about this. You're the first person I've seen do this. So well done.
Thank you. Can
we back to model it more to show us the functionality?
Oh yeah, we're right in the perfect.
She's gonna take a sip of the bread. Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to allow more. You're going to make just all kind of people happy because they can go back into their bars feeling good about wearing a mask, having a drink, and having a great sip of brandy, and wearing some amazing socks and fanning themselves. I mean, this is
I got
covered it all.
Okay, if you're hot, you got your fan.
That's a brandy. That's brandy too. I have some photos here. Do we want to show a few of the photos you sent me?
Sure. Yeah, just so people can get since I do have my own production or vineyard right now, it might be interesting. Yeah. So that's the terroir, typically so this was in distilling season, so harvest had already been happening. So the vines are already harvested, but you can see the soil and just the terroir. Just the way the light, the sun shines and everything in there. So. Yeah.
Very nice. That's beautiful.
Most of it comes from.
That looks incredible. And you spent a lot of time there trying to find the right grapes, haven't you?
Yes. And I've spent a lot of time there over the years, just in general.
Wow.
I did a brand ambassador for Hein Cognac for a while. So
yes.
I learned, a lot about brandy. So that is a traditional copper pot still Charente. That is. They still use the wood firing in there. The heating element is actually wood. It's not electric. And so they're always red. They painted with ox blood traditionally.
They do what?
They used to paint them with ox blood.
Oh wow!
And I've been trying to figure out. I can't remember the reason why, but they still just do it because everything that is done with my brandy has been things that have been done for hundreds of years.
So this is some real tradition. I mean, these are the places that have been.
It's the way
these are stills that have been making it for hundreds of years.
And that black mold, sometimes people, since you've been to Cognac, but the black mold is something that you are looking for because that shows the high hydrogeny of the air. Like there's just a certain, and you'll see them on the back of in Cognac houses. That's something that you really. It sounds horrible, but it's something that it's the perfect climate in which to age, and in which to age Cognac or brandy. And when the Germans came, World War II, they actually, when they'd see black mold on the side of the buildings, they knew that was where Cognac was being produced and aged, and they spared most of the buildings then. And in the Cognac stock, they had such a revere for it.
That is beautiful. All right, what else do we have? I think we have some grapes.
This is my grape. This is Uni Blanc. Just so you can just sort of see. It's also known as Trebbiano in northern Italy. It's the same varietal. So that's what I went.
That is beautiful, and that's what this is made of. Is the Uni Blanc?
Yes. There's Uni, so 90% of it is Uni Blanc from France, but I'm all about transparency, and I think that this is really cool. I get collectively 10% of my grapes from also eau de vie from northern Italy and northern Spain.
Oh wow! Are there Uni Blanc too, or are those?
So the one from Italy is Trebbiano, which is the same varietal.
Trebbiano, okay.
Italy. And people don't know how close things actually are in Europe. I mean, it's not that far away.
Not too far.
So the terroir is not that different, but and then I do have a little bit from northern Spain, which is Macabeo is one of the varietals, and then I have one other varietal that's about 5% that I can't. I have to keep proprietary because again, I don't have my
secret. Most of it, 90% Uni Blanc, and the rest a little bit of Italian, a little bit Spanish.
So then, so like 95 would be Uni Blanc technically, but because it's Trebbiano is just a different name. So like about 5% of it comes from northern Spain. That's Macabeo and one other. Right.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's the barrel house. So
that's where the barrels are aging.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we saw, and a little bit different barrel making. We went to one of the, what do they call the barrel makers in France? We went to one of those and actually saw.
Yes, I've been to them, and I cannot remember right now.
Okay. I think we went to.
I'm fluent in Spanish, and I speak.
Or one of those, but anyway, we went to one of the cooperages in France. Yeah, they make but there's a name they use in France. I was going to try to remember the name. To see how they make the cognac barrels, because they are a bit different from what we do in the U.S.
Oh, definitely.
Really beautiful barrels.
I would love to bring some over and do some sort of collaboration with somebody. I'm thinking about doing.
Well, this is so good. So what's next for Brandy Sainte Louise? What will be seeing this in more states? What are your next plans?
I'm adding 8 more states in by the end of the summer, mostly in the South. Kentucky, I'm looking at. I do not have anyone there yet. It's weird laws there. I know. I'll just like to drink your own business. Even I know you're in Indiana, but I am expanding into Alabama, Wyoming, Mississippi, South Carolina. There's a bunch. Oklahoma, and a few others by the end of the summer. I should be in about almost 40 states.
Amazing. You've done so great growing this. I'm so proud of you. Miss Frankie saying hi to us as well. So hello to Miss Frankie. We have so many great friends we've known throughout the years.
Frankie, I miss you.
From Colorado to Tails, and we had Miss Frankie on our Derby Day. We did an episode on Derby Day where we did
I saw
hours worth of great people and
I miss her so much.
She's awesome. So many good people. And Molly is saying hello, beautiful daughter too.
Well, that's my mom, I guess.
Molly's saying all kinds of great people saying hello. So this is so good to see you. I'm so proud of you on what you've done. You've really grown this in a beautiful way in just 3 years. 3 years, you're all kinds of places, and you're even more soon.
Two.
Okay, 2. Sorry, about 2.
I started working on it 6 years ago, but
about 2 you've been out there.
2 months ago.
Cool. What's your but when you're not having it like on the rocks or neat, what is your absolute favorite like go-to cocktail with this?
My personal go-to, I mean, I love a Sazerac, but my personal go-to is the Boulevardier.
The Boulevardier, I bet it makes a great Boulevardier.
Yes, but I use nothing against Campari. I personally am a fan of the. Let's see, which side am I? I use Grand Classico.
You can bring it up here. Which one is it?
The Grand Classico bitter. Tempest Fugit.
Tempest Fugit, some wonderful stuff.
Gosh, This thing is all backwards. Okay.
There it is. I like that a lot.
This is like the original recipe of them.
And that's the original recipe of the Campari.
And so you see all my Tempest Fugit business back there. Yeah. They all go very well together, pair very well, and can make amazing cocktails from this. And and then I used a Vieux Pontellier, which I know I remember when you interviewed John Troya. And yes. And I have my Vieux Pontellier little sign. Gosh,
very nice. Like there, it's kind of.
Come a long way.
I'm so proud of you. You've done such a great job. You've worked in some great capacities over the years in spirits, and you've just grown this Brandy Sainte Louise only in a couple of years into something really special. So well done, and everybody check out RicouSpirits.com, and we'll have to stick up something where they can find you on BourbonBlog.com, where they can find the masks. Definitely, again, if you're watching, come back every night, BourbonBlog.com/live. And I do these just about every night, but I also host private tastings whiskey tastings. Drop me a line if you're interested in that. I do those in person and also virtually, just like this, just having a good time. So fabulous. It's so good to see it. I know you threw a little party there. Are some of your partiers are still there? Are they in the background?
Yeah. Yeah.
So hello to everyone that I'm having a good party there off to the side. It's good to know you had a little fun.
We did a little brandy yoga before.
What? Tell us about the brand. That's a new thing, the brandy yoga. You're doing yoga while drinking brandy? Is that it?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. Maybe not too much. We also did it in the pool, so.
I've seen the beer yoga. I've seen the beer yoga at some places. So the brandy yoga is now a thing.
Broga or Yandy. I mean, yeah, that's what we were calling it.
You should definitely do a YouTube instructional video on that one. I think.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be all over that.
That would help.
My little cousin Louise she'll be leading that one.
So again, I do recommend this if you all are watching. If you just joined us, don't forget it's available permanently on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Go backwards if you need to watch the whole thing because we talked about some great stuff on spirits, on brandy, and go find this Brandy Sainte Louise and make sure you share this video if you're still watching. We love it when you share it and have a good time. Jen, good to see you.
Good to see you too, BBT.
Cheers. Cheers to everyone there. What a great crowd.